What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you so much for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. As you know, I am Lindsay, and today we are joined by the team over at Clientjoy. Clientjoy is a platform that combines leads, proposals, contracts, invoicing, and payments for a streamlined client lifecycle. It is starting at $49 for a lifetime deal. And before we dive into the walkthrough, I'm just going to tell you all a few quick things. The first, if you want to tell us a little bit about your use case, why you're interested in the tool, anything like that, go ahead and leave those in the chat room. We love to hear it. The second thing, if you have any questions about the tool, the deal, how to get set up, go ahead and leave those questions in the Q&A box down below this video. We will definitely circle back to those at the end of the walkthrough. We also have somebody here on standby to answer those questions as they come in. And then the last thing is that there will be a replay of this. So if you need to step out, or anything like that, you can, and you can watch this again later as many times as you would like. All right, that's it for me. Hey, Yash, how are you doing?
Hey, hi, Lindsay. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to you for the walkthrough. And when y'all are ready for the Q&A part, let me know and I'll come back.
Sure, absolutely. Awesome. So am I audible, Sahid? Okay, so let me just share my screen quickly. Oh, just one sec. I think there's some issue in sharing my screen.
This happens.
I think I'll just come back in a sec. There's some issue in sharing my screen. So just give me one sec.
Cool. We still have you though here, Sahil. What are you up to?
Yeah, so I had growth at Clientjoy, and recently we merged the companies. So I was running an agency, and that is where my picture comes into the place. That I have experience of running an agency. I know how marketing works. Plus, also I know all the pain that agency goes through. So then I give a lot of inputs to the product team that this is what we need in the invoice thing. This is what we need in the proposal thing. This is what we need. So I know a lot of pain points of the agency people. So whenever somebody asks a question around this thing, and I know, yes, that happens a lot with me also. But luckily I'm not into, yeah. So
have
that
you noticed all the
happens a
agency
lot.
people we have here?
Yeah. So okay, Yash is back. I think there would be some permissions issue. That is what I'm presuming.
Hey, yes, there was some small permissions issue. So it asked me to, yeah, so just give me one sec. Yeah. Okay, so let me just share my screen now. Awesome, it works now. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is that I'm actually going to log in, and instead of just showing across the features and all of those things, I'm actually going to share with you a proper use case that as an agency owner, how are you going to use Clientjoy and what it is going to feel like. So let me just sign right in. And so once you click on sign in, you essentially land typically on your leads page, which tells you, how many leads do you have across what statuses and so on and so forth. So over here, as you're able to see over here that we've got dashboard, we've got leads, customers, proposals, invoices, items. And we're going to go through all of them and all of those use cases during the walkthrough today, right? So the first thing that we want to check out is the dashboard page, right? So when you go onto the dashboard page, it essentially gives you a very quick summary of where do your finances stand as of now, where do your proposals stand as of now, and where do your leads across your sales pipeline stand as of now. And then we've got a small little section over here, which essentially is a way for us to connect with our users. We firmly believe that us and our users are in partnership. And so if you want to check out our product roadmap, make a feature request, report some issue, become our partner affiliate, join our community, here's a helpful footer that we've got going on our dashboard itself, right? Now, if you're on the dashboard, you can directly create a lead, customer proposal, or invoice right over here as well. In case if you have any questions, we're always over here. So you can just send out a chat message and we'll respond to you as quickly as we can. And so without that, so let's quickly go into the leads module, right? So the first thing that you see when you come to leads, the default view is the sales pipeline view, right? So my organization, which is Acme Corp, and we are in business of helping other companies brand themselves and position themselves well. And so our pipeline essentially looks something like this, that the first step is discovery, where we discover what are the requirements of our potential customers. Then we start having a conversation with them. Then we qualify them in terms of budget, authority, need, and time. And then once the qualification is done, we either win the customer or lose the customer. Actually, there's a step before that, right? And so let me add a step right over here. So I can, that step is, let's say, negotiation. So let me just add that step as well. And I'll just quickly choose a green color for negotiation, and then I'll just hit save, right? So now my sales pipeline, so any lead that exists in my sales pipeline actually can have a negotiation as a status as well. And then let me move this to the correct place, right? So negotiation typically happens before we win or lose a customer. And so it is right over here, right? And I've got these quick numbers which tell me how many leads do I have per status. Now, this is the view that more often than not people prefer, right? In terms of visualizing their sales pipeline completely in just one screen. However, there are folks who might want to visualize all of their leads as a list, right? And so for those people, we've got a quick toggle over here where you are able to see all of your leads in a list view as well. And if the table looks a lot more cluttered, what you can go and do over here is you can actually take out some of the things that you don't want to see, right? So you may not want to have phone number on the table. You may not want to have owner on the table, and so on and so forth. And so that way, you're actually able to make it a lot less cluttered depending on the information that is important to you. Once the leads that you have, you'll also be able to apply filters. So as an example, I want to see all the leads that I have, which are high value, right? So I want to focus only on the leads that are high value right now. And so that tells me, okay, I have these are the 3 leads that are currently of the highest value that I can then focus on, right? And then there are certain smaller functionalities, like you can import and export all of your leads. But let me show you the process of creation of a new lead, right? So when you click on new lead, it's as simple as just adding the information over here. So let's say the new lead that I have is Robert Baratheon, right? Oh, wait, I already have Robert Baratheon. So let me say the new lead that I have is Lindsay, right? And her email is lindsay@mailinator.com. The reason why I'm putting the email as mailinator.com is because we'll be sending out proposals and invoices to Lindsay as well towards the end of this demo. And so it's important. And so she belongs to AppSumo. Her title is, let's say, webinar expert, right? And so we are currently in qualified status with her. We acquired her through reference. So these are all the sources and everything you can configure. So you can click over here and add sources. So in case if you have, let's say, affiliates who are selling on your behalf and you want to add that as a source, you can do that quickly over here as well. This owner is basically all the other people in your organization or the people who are working with you as salespeople. You can assign these leads to those people. And so let's say the deal size is $15,000, right? We're going to, reposition and rebrand, Lindsay. And so the website is appsumo.com. You get the gist, right? So you'll be able to create all of these things, and number of employees is 1 to 5. And so when I click on save, it creates the lead in qualified stage for me, right? So now when I go to my sales pipeline and when I see over here, I have Lindsay over here created as AppSumo and webinar expert. What I can also do is I can click on her and I can go and add more details, add more notes, add files, proposals, activity log, and so on and so forth. So let me actually go in another lead that I've created where there's a lot more details, right? So let's say Sansa Stark is one of the leads that I've been working on for her repositioning and branding. And so you'll be able to see over here, these are the tags that I've assigned to her. These are the notes that we have. All the files that have been created for her in the process, any proposals that have been sent along with the statuses that this has been accepted, this has been sent, activity log, which is coming soon for us. And then I can click over here and convert her to a customer at any point of time, right? So let me again go back to the leads section. Now, let me create a proposal for Lindsay. Right. So when I click on her, I'll go on a very similar details page. I can go over here on proposals, or I can go in proposal section and create that as well. So let me go to the proposal section over here and then create a proposal for her. So now that I am here in our proposal section, you'll be able to see list of all the proposals that have been created thus far, along with who's received it, by up until what time are they open, what is the status, and so on and so forth. Now, a good thing is that since we are into offering branding and repositioning services for individuals, I've actually already created a proposal for Sansa, right? And so I can just go ahead and quickly duplicate that for Lindsay, right? So let me just click over here and duplicate it. So when I click on duplicate, it basically takes the proposal that was previously sent to someone else. And then it allows me to make small little edits in those proposals, right? So I just make a quick edit over here. So this is going to be proposal for Lindsay. And the recipient is also going to change. So I can choose the recipient from over here. So my recipient is going to be Lindsay. And the due date is going to be 23rd of October. So this due date I can select from our settings, which is something that we'll cover in a bit. I can choose the layout of the pages and the documents and so on and so forth, right? What I can also do is I can start editing this proposal, right? So this is the proposal, as you can see, which was created previously for Sansa. So we help you stand out, so a bit of text over here, a small table about the company, what's it going to cost and so on and so forth. So let me also show you some ad hoc functionalities for creation as well, right? So you can essentially create text, images, tables, dividers, and you can add them over here. So I can add a text that says, heading 1 for now, and I just change its size to 48. I'll add a divider below it, and then I'll add, let's say, an image over here, which I can just quickly upload it. So let's say this is the image that I want to share. So I just open it over here. Now, when I put an image over here, I also have a lot of settings that are related to the image, right? So I can choose the size as small, medium, or large. So I want it to be medium, and I want it to be center aligned. I don't want to give it any border. I can also, instead of just going ahead with small, medium, and large or logo, I can actually give it custom dimensions as well. So let's say I want it to be 500 pixels across 500 pixels, or whatever the case may be. So let's say I keep it as 350, because else it will blow out of the canvas, and we don't want that. And so then you're able to also add other sections. So you can add, let's say, another table if you want. You can add another bit of text where you just write, this is random text to show how dynamic the proposal creator is, right? And so on and so forth, right? Now, once I've created this proposal, I can send it out for her signature as well. I think I'm done in terms of creating the proposal. I'll just come over here and I'll check, whether all the details are correct or not. And then I can directly send across the proposal to her very quickly. So for that, let me create another very quick proposal for her, right? So it should just be a very, very simple proposal. So let me open up Mailinator, which is where I'll receive the proposal. Let me quickly check the email address that was created. Okay. If I don't want to duplicate a proposal, I can just click over here and then I just title it as, let's say, rebranding for Lindsay. And this is the receiver. So for this version of the proposal, I will just create a test version of the proposal. So I'll just put in test over here and I just put in random text over here so that we know how it is going to look when it goes out to people. Right. Let me just check whether every detail is correct or not. Okay. Yeah. So all of these they look fine. So let me just send it out. So when you send out a proposal, it shows you that this is the primary receiver. This is the primary sender. You can choose to CC it to anyone in your organization. So let's say I'd want to CC, let's say contact at Clientjoy for IO for whatever reason. I can edit the email subject and I can also edit the email copy that goes out every time. I can also choose to attach PDF and whatever changes that I can make those as default, right? So which means that every time a proposal goes out to the next customer or lead of yours, this is the text that will go out, right? So for now, let me just send it out. So when I click on send, it sends out an email to Lindsay. And so the email comes much like this. It says Clientjoy over here. This is something that you can change from settings. So it can say your workspace name. So you can say Acme Corp over here in this case. She can open the proposal. And this is the text that we had written and approved. This is the link. Had we clicked on attach a PDF, then it would also go in as a PDF as well. And she can open the link in the new tab. She can check out the proposal right over here, which was the test proposal that we sent out to her. And so the reason why it's a link and an email is that we're able to track the emails and the links that also go out. Now she can choose to accept it, but let's say if she chooses to decline. So when she clicks on decline, she is prompted to give in a reason why she's declining, right? So you as an agency are able to evaluate the reasons, whether the cost is too high, whether services have not been described properly, whatever the reason might be. But for now, let's click on accept the proposal. Now there are two options that she has. She can type her signature or draw her signature. So drawing works something like this, which is as simple as it works with a trackpad anywhere. But let's say for now we'll type it out, right? So she accepts and signs the proposal. So as soon as the proposal is accepted and signed, it changes the status over here. And then when we go out and check our proposal table, it will update over here as well, right? So you know that this proposal has been accepted by Lindsay, right? We are also coming up with proposal templates. And again, over here, you've got quick filters. So you can click on open. It'll show you just the open proposals that you have right now. And similarly for draft, sent, declined, and so on and so forth. You can also choose which are the items that you want to see on your table. You can also filter all of your proposals basis these tags and these filters as well, right? So that's basically how proposals work, right? So once you have someone which is either an individual or an organization that has been added as a lead, you can choose to send out proposals to them and they can sign it, essentially reducing your turnaround times. We'll also, once we go into settings, we'll also see how the proposal reminders work and how you are also able to track opens of the proposal email and open of the links of the proposals as well. So you know whether the proposal has been seen or not, and you can plan your follow-ups accordingly, right? So now that Lindsay's accepted our proposal, let me quickly go back to the leads page and I'll mark her as closed one, right? So I'll mark her as closed one. And then what I'll also do is I'll convert her to a customer, right? So now she is a customer of this of Acme Corp, which is our organization. And I have to add some mandatory other details as well. So let's say I want to add her VAT number. Okay, this one is the mandatory one. So don't get confused, right? These are custom fields that we've created so that you are able to know, and which is something that we'll also see in a bit. I can add billing address, I can add shipping address, and so on and so forth. And as you can see over here, it says you can set custom fields from here, which we'll see in a bit when we go into settings page as well, right? So let me save. Now, when a person becomes or an organization becomes your customer, it becomes a lot richer, right? So there's a difference between the amount of things that you have for them when they were a lead versus the things that, now they've accepted your proposal and now they become your customer as well. So now you're able to manage all the notes over here. You're able to manage files, contacts, proposals that were sent previously, invoices, payment receipts, activity log, and so on and so forth, right? So let me go ahead and raise an invoice now, right? So I can just go over here. So when I come to my invoices tab, I see all the invoices that I've created for all the customers that I have. I can go ahead and click on creating a new invoice. And so Lindsay is going to be receiving the invoice from us. So once you created a new invoice, it's a very simple creator. It shows, about your company over here. If you added all the details, so if you added the billing address for Lindsay, it will show up over here on the left. This is my company logo, and this is the brand color of my company. And this is my company logo, which again, we'll be seeing in settings. The due dates and the invoice dates, they have also been configured in the settings. And these are my predefined client note and the item. So let me go ahead and add a couple of items, right? So Lindsay, let's say purchased, the item of house sigil design, which is priced at $1,500. She also purchased from us personal branding toolkit, which was branded at $3,800. And so put together, that comes to about 6,254. So I just add that and save over here. So it's fairly simple to add items on the invoices, and all the things that you create on Clientjoy, they are auto saved, right? So the invoices, the proposals, each and everything that you create over here, they are auto saved. So you've got nothing to worry about in the sense of, after creating or spending, let's say 1 hour, 1.5 hours on proposal, what if it all goes away, right? Because of a disconnection. Now, an interesting thing that we have is also that you can send across recurring invoices, right? So you can click over here and you can say, hey, she's purchased the sigil design personal branding toolkit on a recurring basis. So when I click on recurring, it says, but it has to be sent out, every 3 months. It could be weekly, yearly, annually, or daily. But say in this case, it's supposed to go out to her every 3 months. And it says send forever. I can say, okay, no, but it has to be sent. Let's say she's purchased our 4-quarter plans. And so it has to be sent out to her every 3 months for the next 4 times, right? Now, another cool thing is that we also have payment methods that are integrated over here. So I can say, okay, Lindsay is going to pay me through wire transfer, or she can choose to pay me through Stripe as well, right? So these are the 2 options that are available to her for making the payment to us, right? This is the predefined client note that we've added that can be changed right over here as well. So let's say I want to change the client note, I can make the change over here, and that it will reflect over here. Invoice color, this is same as the brand color. However, for this particular invoice, if you want to change it, you can change that over here as well, right? So it's fairly simple, quick, and easy. You can also change some amount of defaults if you want. So if I add the address over here of the customer, then it will start reflecting over here as well, right? So these are the defaults, and they get updated in the customer pane as well, right, at that point of time. And then as in when we have more and more templates, we'll be adding those templates right over here, right? So now that we're done with the creation of the invoice, let me just click and send across the invoice again. So when I send, I can again choose to, edit all of my default emails right over here. In case if I want to say something else, then what goes out from our company. So let's say I don't want to say new invoice from Shreyansh. I want to say new invoice from Acme Corp, right? So I can make all of these changes. And I can also click on making it default, right? So then this will become our default invoice to customer email template, and I can click on send. Now, once I click on send again, she'll receive an email over here saying that, hey, you received an invoice. So firstly, she has received thank you for accepting the proposal, which is again an email that goes out automatically. And then she can also receive the invoice right over here. So this is the email that came to her. She can click on the invoice link. It will open up as a preview for her. And since we've got the Stripe integration, and we'll be integrating with many more payment gateways, by the way, going forward. Since we've got Stripe integration, she can just click over here and make the payment, right? So it's fairly simple and easy that way. She can click over here and download the PDF of the invoice, and she can just go to Stripe. So this should take her to the Stripe checkout account. This is, by the way, our test account. So this is, as you can see, it is the test mode account. But when you integrate it with the actual Stripe account that you have, this will actually take them to your Stripe, and they can make the payment and check out, right? So, and when they make the payment, it will obviously reflect into your payments tab in Clientjoy as well, which is what we're going to see. Now, in this case, let's say as an example, she made the payment through wire transfer, right? So she did not make the payment through Stripe, but she made the payment through a wire transfer, and she did not pay, the full amount. So what you can do is you can go over here and you can click on record payment. And so the amount that was paid was, let's say, $3,000, and the payment method was wire transfer in her case, and the transaction ID was AppSumo _123 as an example, right? This is whatever appears on the bank receipt for you. And so when you click on record, it changes the status from this invoice being unpaid to this invoice being partially paid, right? So you always know that, whatever the invoice amount may be, even though the invoice amount may not be fully paid, you are aware over here as to what the status of the invoice is. And of course, when you go into your customers tab and when you click on AppSumo or Lindsay, then you'll be able to see all of those invoices right over here, right? So you see that this was the invoice amount, this has been partially paid. You'll also be able to see the payments that have been made along with the transaction ID over here. So this makes things fairly simple. So what, if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this webinar, is that the problem that we're solving is not that of you not being able to raise the invoices right now, or you're not being able to send the proposals, or you're not being able to manage your leads. I'm sure you have a sales CRM in place, or you have some proposal software in place, or some invoicing software, some payments software, or something to that effect in place. However, when all of these things are happening in one place, you'll be able to see the beauty of the connection that it brings along, right? Because now that she's made this payment, it will also start reflecting on my dashboard, right? So since you're using just one software, the journey of you going from Lindsay being a lead to receiving a proposal, to accepting the proposal, to receiving the invoices and partially paying the invoice, all of that happens in just one place. And it just makes things very simple for everyone who's involved in that whole process and in that whole life cycle, right? And so what I'd like you to also think about is that Clientjoy is not a collection of features, right? When the complete life cycle of the client is happening in one place, the sum of parts actually happens to be greater than parts of the sum, right? And that's basically what we are going for over here, right? And then the next thing that we want to see is items, right? So when you go into items, these are the items that you repeatedly sell. And so you can go into, and you can also add categories to your items, and these items are used differently in different parts of the world. So where we're from, we typically end up calling it items. Where you're from, you may end up calling it products or services, or whatever the case may be, right? But these are the things that you typically sell, right? And so when you click on new item as an example, let's say the item is letterhead design, right? Right, and then I can, so this is my USD price. USD pricing for letterhead design is, let's say, $300. I can, INR is also another currency that I work in. And so let's say the INR pricing, which is typically for the Indian customers, is, let's say, 15,000 INR. I can add taxes. I can add it to a particular category. So this is going to be a part of branding category that we have, and so on and so forth. Right, so I can click on save, and it will start appearing over here under the branding category, right? So, and then these are the items that I can actually pick when I'm creating my proposals and when I'm creating my invoices as well, right? And so it makes things very, very simple going forward, right? Now let me dive into settings. I've said multiple times that there are a lot of things that are there in settings, and so let me dive straight in. So firstly, when you go into your settings, you see your own profile photo, and your own quick details that you can add over here. Billing is basically the plan that you have with us. So this is the plan that you have with us, where you can apply your AppSumo code and get the account upgraded. And then let's get into the workspace settings. So workspace settings is basically the name of the organization, what's the brand color, what's the logo. So these are the color that typically kind of shows up in your client portal, right? The portal that is going to be used by your clients. There's a logo that appears on the invoice, it appears on proposals, and so on and so forth. We also want to set our own time zone so that all the emails that are being sent out, which are automatic and transactional emails, they go out according to that time zone. We've also got custom domain coming in soon, right? So what custom domain will do for you is that you can run Clientjoy on your own domain, right? Which means that when you give access to the client, to your clients off the client portal, they'll actually not even know that this is some other SaaS product that you're using. You can basically, it could be called acmecorp.com, and so the client that is using the client portal on acmecorp.com is on your URL and with your logo and with your brand guidelines. Over here, let me also explain what is a workspace, right? So workspace is typically an organization, right? So workspace is a collection of all of your leads, all of your customers, all of your invoices, all of your proposals, each and every, all of your customers, right? So and your team members. So all of those things sit within one workspace, right? And when we say users in the plans that you see on AppSumo, the users are your staff members, right? So there's no limit on the number of contacts that you can have or the number of clients that you can have. The plans on AppSumo are defined, per the number of staff members that you have, or the size of the agency that you are, right? And then you also need to be, if you're a legal entity, you want to add all of your relevant details over here. These are the things that will appear on all of your invoices and things like that. You can also create and add your team members, right? So in this organization, it's just me, it's just Shreyansh, and the role that I have is owner, but I can just very easily click over here, and I can add a particular email, and I can configure permission. So I can say that, hey, I want to make this person an admin, or I just want to show them leads, or just customers, or proposals, or just invoices. So as an example, the accountant that we have in our organization just has access to the invoices that are raised. They don't need to know the leads and the proposals. They just have access to invoices and customers and items, right? And so on and so forth. So you can manage all of your staffing and permissions from over here. And then these are settings related to those modules, right? So you can click over here and say, hey, automatically the reminder should go every 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. You can of course choose to manually remind people as well. You can say, send all proposal reminders at this particular time. This is what the prefix should be. This is the due date, typically from the day that I send across the proposal. This is the day when it should be due. So since we're creating all the proposals on 16th of October, all of them are due on 23rd of October, right? We can similarly go into invoices and have small settings related to them as well. So the first reminder goes after the second day of the invoice, and then the recurring reminder repeats every 7 days after the due date, right? So you can change all of these things right over here. Over here, you can add taxes. So in our case, it's just VAT, but wherever you are, let's say if you have GST, if you have any negative tax that you are supposed to charge from the customer, you can just click on add new tax name, rate, and just apply, right? And they start applying to your invoices, and you can add and remove them as well. Over here, you can set your default client note. So typically our customers use it for just giving all of their bank information, right? So in case if the payment is going to come as a wire transfer, then they just give in their bank information over here, so that all the invoices carry that. You can add terms over here as well. And it's the same rich editor that we used for the proposal as well. So you can add small images if you want and stuff like that, right? Then we've got payment methods, right? So currently we integrate with these 3 payment gateways. So we've got PayPal, Stripe, and Instamojo. Instamojo is an Indian payment gateway, works only with INR. Stripe works globally. PayPal works globally. We've got Braintree to check out Authorize.net, Payoneer, and actually GoCardless as well. On our pipeline. If there are other ways wherein which you collect payments, then you can add them over here as well. So as you can see over here, I've added wire transfer as one of the payment methods that people can pay us with. And you can add other payment methods so that all of your invoices carry how you're expecting to be paid on that invoice also. Now, I know a lot of agencies typically work with global customers, and so they can add multiple currencies. So when I'm working with a company or a customer in India, I obviously send them an invoice in INR. You can add more currencies just by clicking over here and then selecting the currency from the list of currencies that we have. And then whenever you create a customer, you'd be able to assign the currency. So if you remember when we created Lindsay, since she lives in the United States, so the default currency that I applied was US dollars, right? So she'll see everything that goes to her, including the proposals, including the invoices, everything that goes to her only in USD, right? My Indian customers will see it in INR. My European customers will see it in EUR, right? And so it's local in that sense. This is another feature that I'm very excited to share with you, right? So you can now, you may want to capture certain fields that may not have been offered by default, right? And so as an example, one of the fields that I'd love to capture, let's say on the customer. So when someone becomes our customer, one of the fields that I want to capture for them, okay, yeah. One of the fields that I want to capture from them when they become our customer is size of the organization, right? That's something that I want to know. And I can make it as, let's say, I want to make it as a select. And so I want to know, okay, how many are from 1 to 5? How many are from 6 to 20? How many are from 21 to 50? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I want to make it mandatory, right? So every time that any lead is converted to a customer, I want my salesperson to enter this data into the software. And so when I save, the next time that I create a customer or convert a lead into a customer, it'll ask me to choose from the options that I created. And similarly with leads, in leads, you may want to capture, what geography are they from? In items, you may want to capture, as an example, what category does this item belong to? In company, which is for yourself, you may want to capture whatever fields that you may want to create and capture, right? This will actually also come in handy when we are creating forms, right? So forms is another thing, which are lead forms is another thing that we've got on our roadmap. And so all the fields that you create over here are essentially the ones that you can populate on your forms, which you can then embed or publish wherever you want and capture data through that as well. And so this will come in a lot handy at that point of time as well. And then what we've got is email templates. So these are all the emails that go out automatically from the system, and we want you to be totally and completely in control, so that you can choose what text goes out when which email goes out, and you can actually stop those emails, or you can click on them and just edit the text that goes out in all of those emails as well, right? And so we want you to make Clientjoy completely your own, so that this is the text that we've written for you, but obviously you understand your agency business and you understand your customers really, really well, and so you can make those changes for yourself. So that's the settings bit. However, a very, very quick overview. The first thing, so a couple of things that we saw today. So the first thing that we saw was the dashboard, and how you get a quick summary of how your company or your agency is performing. We also saw the quick footer that we have on the dashboard, which actually are different ways in which we can stay in touch with each other, and we can actually end up making a better product. The next thing that we saw was leads, and how the first thing that it shows you is a complete sales view and pipeline. So you are able to make better decisions and change statuses of your leads, add more data to the software, and generally make your sales a lot faster. You can, as you also saw, you can go into any particular lead and check out all the details that have been captured while having conversation with that lead across different statuses. It's very, very rich in that sense. You can click over here, convert them to a customer. We also saw proposals, and how the first proposal that you create, you can just end up duplicating that and send it out to as many people as you want. We saw how it can be signed and accepted, and we can change the product changes statuses automatically, sends out the emails at the relevant points that it is supposed to. And then we also saw creation of invoices, recurring invoices, the number of times that the invoice is supposed to reoccur. We added a couple of items. We went back to customers to see how the customer view is and what are the details that we capture whenever we are actually storing a particular customer. And then the next thing that we saw was settings that you set up, once probably, and just revisit it every quarter to just make sure that the software is performing well. But again, as I said earlier, the one thing, if you take away one thing from this webinar, it is the fact that how beautifully can you run your agency when you have your leads, customers, proposals, contracts, invoices, items, anything and everything, all those major nodes of your client communication in one place, right? So when you can see all of the payments that you've received from a client, or the invoices that you sent, all of those summaries essentially help you identify what your bottlenecks are, help you identify what your growth enablers are, and generally help you offer a much better experience to your clients and make better decisions for your agency. Right. So that's it. That's it for the demo that I had for the product. That's for the product walkthrough. And so I think what we can do is we can dive deep into the Q&A. I see there are a lot of questions that have been asked, and so we can talk about those.
Yeah, let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. Sumolings, if you have any more questions that you would like answered, go ahead and send those to the Q&A box right now. That's where we're going to be working in. All right. So this first question, with one code, we get 5 user accounts and 5 users in each workspace. What's the difference between user accounts and users in a workspace?
So there's no difference between user accounts and users actually. So basically with the one code that you get one main workspace, which is where you apply your code, and then you get 3 other workspaces. All of them have the limit of 5 user accounts per workspace. And so when we say user accounts, we actually mean staff members, the people who are working in your organization, right? They are not your number of leads or number of customers or number of contacts of those customers. You can have unlimited of those. This is so if you're a 5 people agency serving 10 customers a quarter versus 1,000 customers a quarter, that's the limit is on the 5 people agency, right? And not on the customers or the leads.
All right. In the proposal tables, are there optional product/price items that a customer can choose or unchoose?
Sure. So you can, so we are implementing the proposal pricing table, which will pick out items from the proposal, from the items table that you've created of previously. You can, what you can do is you can create two tables for now. So you can say, hey, if we are engaging in any way, shape or form, these are the 3 items that you will definitely need to purchase, and then these are the list of 7 other items that you may or may not purchase. However, the question that is in this way is typically, I think what they are looking for is a cataloging system, where what they can do is they can give a list of 10 items, and the customer can choose 3 items and then just make the payment for those 3, and then generate invoices automatically, which is a great use case for itemized services, right? That's not something that we have as of now. We may have that in the future, but as of now, it is the Clientjoy is built much more for services that you offer, which are more like design services, digital marketing agency related services, IT services, and so on and so forth.
Great, thank you. Can we charge late payments automatically as a percentage of the outstanding amount for unpaid invoices and for invoices paid after the due date?
That's an amazing question. This is a great feature suggestion as well. We will add that to our, this is something that we definitely need. So while you cannot do it right now, but we will add this to our roadmap and we'll get this done.
Fantastic. All right, this question comes up in every webinar. API, webhook, or Zapier, or integration available? What you got? Tell me about integrations.
So we've got so in the V1 we already had all the API and Zapier, all of those integrations we already had, which is something that we are porting to the new version of Clientjoy. And so essentially with Zapier, people know it's a simple IFTTT protocol, and so you can take data out of Clientjoy, you can send data to Clientjoy, and similarly with API also, and so with products like Pably or Integrately, you'll also be able to integrate. It's on our short-term roadmap. And it will be out there soon.
So on the subject of roadmaps, I'm curious, what are you most excited about on the roadmap? What can we expect to come out of y'all?
So there are 2 key things that we are super excited about. So the first one is, and this is something that we've also seen on the Q&A page of AppSumo. So the first one is, why we built recurring invoices. So you as Lindsay will receive recurring invoices, once every quarter for 4 quarters, but you'll still have to manually pay, right? So currently what we are working on, which is something that's super exciting, is that we allow the both agency and client to enter into a contract where both of them agree and say that, hey, this recurring invoice, while it is being generated, it should also be paid recurringly, right? So you don't have to follow up with the client and ask them for the payment, or the client does not have to make the payment when the invoice is received. So that is something that we're working on. So we are exploring GoCartless and Stripe for those kind of integrations. We're also talking to FastSpring for better rates for those kind of integrations. So that's the first thing that we are super excited about. The second thing that we are super excited about is the possibilities that rise through integrations, right? Because one of the things that we've realized, having been in the market for more than a year, is that a product in and of itself is of far lesser value than just by opening up with APIs and integrations, right? And you essentially are doing nothing by opening up the APIs. It's not a big feature or a module that you're building, but it is perceived and it genuinely delivers disproportionate amount of value to your customers. And so that's the other thing that we are super excited about.
Definitely. Love that answer. All right. Can we migrate workspaces to different accounts?
As of now, no. You cannot migrate workspaces to different accounts because the way, and I think even in the future, I don't think that would be possible. You'll obviously be able to export your data for sure, and then import all the data in different modules. So as an example, you can export all of your leads and then import all the leads back into a new account. You'll be able to do all of those things. However, migration of all the data in workspace to another workspace, the product is not built that way, right? So the product is built in a way that workspace essentially is a company, right? And the company does not need migration. The company is here. then that's what it is. So all of its invoices, all of its proposals, all of its customers are with it, right? And so that's where we are. I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I thought my mic stopped.
No worries.
Okay, can I send an email and BCC the CRM and automatically have the email added to the activity for that customer?
Yeah, you can. I showed it in the demo as well, and you can do that right now, for sure.
Great. And if the person who asked that question missed that during the demo, sorry, there will be a replay of this available, so you can find that.
Yeah.
Is there a way to show client GST number and other information on invoice?
Yes, you can create a custom field that will, so in certain countries, much like India, where we are as well, showing the client GST number and your GST number is a mandate on all the invoices that go out, right? So so you can create a custom field and then put for the invoice module, and so that custom field could say GST number, and then put in the GST number, and it'll appear on all the invoices. It'll be attached to your clients, and it'll appear on all the invoices that you're sending out. Yeah.
Cool. All right, this next question is about the deal. Do we get 15 user accounts with one code? It looks like one code gets you 5 user accounts.
Yeah.
15 user accounts is at the 3 code mark. So it increases, I'm guessing, by 5 for each code. Let's double check that. Yeah. Is that right?
Yes, but let me quickly clarify that, right? So so what you get with first code is 1 core workspace and 3 other workspaces. So all of them have a limit of 5 users per workspace, right? For 1 code, right? So you get 20 user accounts, but you get 4 workspaces, and each workspace can have only 5 users per workspace, right? When you buy the second code, 1 workspace gets 10 and the others get 5 each. And then with each and every code that you add, we add 5 more users to the key core workspace that you have. And then the number of workspaces also increase, but the 5 user per workspace limit kind of stays for the other workspaces, right? So so as an example, yeah, so you can look at the AppSumo deal, and it becomes fairly simple for you to understand that so the idea is that for the core business that you may have, if you're a large organization, so if you have, let's say, and when I say large, I mean a decent sized agency, right? So let's say if you have 30 team members, then you buy the 4 code plan or the 5 code plan, where you will be able to get 30 user accounts in 1 key workspace. And then along with that, if you have a couple of other initiatives, then for those initiatives, you can again add 5 more team members in those separate workspaces, right? So that's the idea.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. All right. Clinton wants to know, when do you anticipate having full email client and calendar integrations with G Suite?
So firstly, once the API integrations are done, you will still be able to do it. I understand that it won't be to the level that would be super convenient. However, it will already reach to an extent. The email integration specifically for the leads module, when it happens, it will happen for G Suite, Office 365, all of them kind of together itself, right? That is there on our medium-term roadmap. So that would be anywhere between 6 months to 9 months time range. But that's basically where we're looking at.
What payment platforms or gateways are currently enabled?
So currently we have PayPal, Stripe, and Instamojo, and we will have ToCheckout, Braintree, GoCartless, and a couple more. The ones that were there on the payment gateway page, they are coming out very soon. They are on our short-term roadmap, so which is just basically anything less than 3 months. And then what we're doing is we've built a framework, right? So the framework is that as and when we need more and more payment gateways, because payment gateways are very, very geography centric, right? So someone in Southeast Asia will need a different payment gateway. Someone will in Europe will need a different payment gateway, and so on and so forth. So as and when we are getting requirements, we are basically just adding and voting on the payment gateways. And the framework that we've built is that all the integrations we've done are done in a way that the new payment gateway does not need to be built from scratch, right? So we can integrate those fairly quickly. So if you see your payment gateway already on Clientjoy coming soon, then it's coming in less than 3 months. If you'd, however, like to have a payment gateway that's not in the list, then just go to the dashboard. You'll see, request a feature, and just write the name of the payment gateway and give us the URL, and we'll figure it out.
Great. And we have some follow-up questions, or a follow-up question from what we were just talking about with how the workspaces are set up. Specifically, what is the difference between a core workspace and other workspace? What's the benefit of having these separate workspaces? What can you speak to?
Sure. So the separate, there's no difference essentially apart from the limits that you have within the core workspace and the sub or the separate workspaces that you have. In terms of features, all the features are available on all the workspaces. The only difference may be in terms of the number of staff members that you can have in different workspaces, right? So that's the first difference. The second difference, which is a minor difference, is essentially the AppSumo code that you have purchased applies to the core workspace, right? So let's say if you have 3 codes right now, and then if you choose to stack up to, buy another 5 codes tomorrow, then all of those codes have to be applied to the core workspace and not to the other workspaces. So that's a small kind of a difference, but not in terms of limits or anything like that.
Great, thank you. And Sumolings, we only have a few more questions here to get through. So if you have any that you still haven't had answered and you really want it answered, go ahead and send those to us now in the Q&A box. That's where I'm grabbing these from. All right. Next question is, whether we win or lose a customer, will they all be saved somewhere so we can email them in the future? With a note about whether we won them or lost them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in the use case that I showed, I won Lindsay as a customer. However, had I lost them, she'll still be there on my leads page under the lost leads. So as you saw on our sales pipeline page, and there's a separate status for that. So the status is lost, right? So they will be available over there. Now there are 2 ways. So one is you can add a note yourself as to why did you lose them, and second is that when they're rejecting your proposal, if they choose to, they can write the reason why did they choose to reject the proposal, and that also is appended over there.
All right. In sending proposals, there was a drop down to select the recipient. Can we also search by recipient name instead of scrolling down the new leads?
Oh yeah. So when you start typing, so you've got to type 3 letters. So once you type the first 3 letters of either the name of any contact of a customer or the company name of the customer, it will start showing up and it will start filter. So it's a basic text match search that we have. So I chose to do the old school way, but let's say if you're in a hurry, you can just type out the first 3 characters of either the name of the organization or name of the individual, and it will show up.
All right, thank you. We're getting some more questions about the workspaces. Okay. Is there an additional cost for workspaces and users?
That depends on the plan that you have. So
I'm curious. Sorry, I'm curious if they want to add more than 5 users to one of their 2nd, 3rd, 4th accounts. Is there a cost for that?
So once the what we're doing is we are building add-ons. So the idea is that if you want to add, let's say 10 users in the 2nd workspace, which is your sub workspace, then you can buy an add-on from us, which is priced at $9 for 5 users put together, right? And that is the list price, right? And you get a 60% off on that, given that you're an AppSumo customer. So you pay us $9 for 5 users additional per month, and then a 60% off on that. So it's essentially $3.6. So it comes out to be less than $1 a month for any additional user that you want.
Great. Thank you for your clarifications. All right. Will there be an option in the future where a payment can pay immediately after accepting the proposal on the platform? Specifically, they want to know about via a Go cardless link.
Yes.
But what can you speak to with that?
So I think what the person is asking for, the Sumo link is asking for is, an automatic conversion of a proposal to an invoice, right? Along with the payment link and everything. So that's something that we have in V1, and it is being ported right now to the new version that I just showed you and demoed it to you. And so by end of this month, or let's say first week of November, you'll be able to do that. So you'll be able to convert a proposal to invoice. What this means is that when I send out a proposal to Lindsay, I'll send it out in a way that as soon as she accepts the proposal, she will receive another email with the invoice of that proposal, and she can click on pay, and the payment will go through. So that's the workflow that we already have. Yeah.
Awesome. Can we void an invoice and also refund an invoice directly from the portal?
No. So the voiding, so you can void the invoice for sure. Refunding is something that is done through the payment gateway, right? So the payment is not coming to us in any way, shape, or form. We only get to know whether the payment was made or not. So if the customer, so if Lindsay had paid me through Stripe will just tell me that this payment has gone through or this payment is not. However, the payment actually sits in your Stripe account and then it moves to your bank account. So the activity of refunding will have to be done from Stripe. And yeah, so that's where we are.
Can we send an invoice without having sent a proposal?
Oh yeah, for sure. So it's very normal that a lot of times, you go in for a meeting, you've not even entered them as a lead, and by the end of the meeting, you've closed the client, right? So why would you add them as a lead and then a proposal and then create an invoice? So you can just create a customer and then just send out an invoice right away.
Great. We got some more roadmap questions. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to summarize them all in one right now. They're curious about drip email sequencing. They're interested in more invoice templates and project management.
Got it. So drip email sequence. So let me define drip, right? So drip is the way that drip is normally used in software industries, that it sends out automatic emails basis behavior of users on the software, right? It's something that we've got set up in Clientjoy as well. Now, since this is not set up anywhere, we don't know the behavior of the user, right? Or your clients. So creating a campaign where it automatically sends out basis the behavior is not something that is feasible itself, right? Forget the question of whether it is on the roadmap or not. However, the ability to send across a sequence, right, which is not based on the behavior. So let's say saying, the first email goes out to Lindsay today, and then the next, if she does not reply, the next one goes out a week later, the third one goes out 3 days later. That is possible. So that will come along with the email integration that we have with the leads module going forward. The second point that you mentioned was, I think, around project management, right? So project management is something that we have on the roadmap. So if you see all of the videos that we're doing, our positioning or our mission essentially is that we're looking to help 100,000 agencies over the next 3 years to grow, fulfill, and earn, right? So the grow part is the sales pipeline, proposals, and contracts. The fulfill part is project management and ticketing, and the earn part is invoicing and revenues and so on and so forth. Invoicing and payments and all of the finances, right? So we've got some parts of grow already implemented, some parts of earn already implemented, and fulfill is what we're going to attack next as a major module. And so that is something that we have on our roadmap and we'll be building soon. I think there was a third question. Third point.
Invoice templates, more templates.
So I'm surprised that people are not asking for proposal templates and invoice templates, but we will have invoice templates as well, and proposal templates also are coming soon. So both the invoice as well as proposal templates will be coming soon.
Cool. What about contracts? Somebody says, is it possible to create, sign, and send contracts to prospects?
So currently you can use the proposal module that we have to sign contracts. So it's as flexible as you need it to be in terms of creation of contracts. So instead of making it beautiful and impactful, you can just put in terms and conditions in the same way that I created a duplicated a proposal that I did earlier today. So you can use the same thing as of now to sign contracts. You can add the contract value. You can say up until what time is this contract valid, who's the signee for this contract, and so on and so forth. Then it will also end up showing in your dashboard and analytics. However, going forward, what we're also looking to offer is a separate module for contract signing, right? Because there are some other things apart from proposal. So the key difference between the thought process of us sending a proposal and us sending a contract is that more often than not, there's a lot of back and forth on a contract, right? So there's not just authoring and execution. There's a crucial step of redlining a contract as well, which is where you're negotiating, right, on key terms. And so with those modules, which we are currently working on, we will be bringing in contracts to the platform as well. But as of now, you can use proposals to sign contracts as well.
Great. And then once the AppSumo deal is over, Sad, what will it cost to get additional workspaces?
So sad, me too. However, so what is when the apps? So in the AppSumo deal, we are offering multiple workspaces as a part of codes, right? However, when we convert to a monthly recurring price point, all the plans will be available only per workspace, right? So whatever plan that you want. So AppSumo deal is linked with the pro plan that we have, which is the highest plan that we have, which is available for $149 per workspace. And so even when you choose to buy any particular workspace after the AppSumo deal, you essentially get a 60% off on the list price. So what I recommend is that so think of it this way, right? The 10 code on AppSumo get you 50 users in one workspace and then 100 other workspaces, right? And that is for $490. The reason why it is available and the reason why we did not, I'll be very honest with you, right? So the reason why we did not even talk about the pricing with AppSumo essentially was because the goal of doing a deal on AppSumo for us is not to generate revenues, right? We're a fairly well-funded organization. We've got a great team with us. The goal of doing the AppSumo deal for us was to get a lot of users from diverse backgrounds that belong to our target market, and then come on the platform and do constructive criticism, right? Tell us what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right. The fact that the questions that you guys are asking, essentially, this is my product discovery, right? And this is not just for our users to see later. It is also for our team to see later. And a large part of our team is also joined in right now. And so that's the reason for the AppSumo launch. So after the launch, after the deal is over, it's going to be fairly expensive to get workspaces, right? So that's just the point that I was trying to drive.
Great. Thank you for clarifying all of that. Sumolings, we are out of time for today. I apologize. There will be a replay of this available. I did see that question come in. Yes, you can watch this as you fall asleep at night, every night, as many times as you want. Nobody will judge you. That's all the time we've got for today. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Sumolings, if you haven't already, you can go to appsumo.com/clientjoy to redeem your codes. It is starting at $49, which we just went over is a steal. It's a lifetime deal starting at $49, and of course is backed by AppSumo's 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead and get set up, play around with it, see how it works for you. We're looking at a 5 taco rating and 32 reviews. That's pretty stellar. So congratulations to you and your team. If y'all want to continue adding your reviews to the deal page, go ahead and do that. We love to hear from you. And of course, if you have any more questions, and I'm sorry if we didn't get to your questions today, if you have any more questions, y'all can leave those on the deal page. I'm sure somebody will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today and for walking us through all of this. This is great.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. And we'll speak to you soon. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.